Hello everybody and welcome to another jungling guide, this time featuring Kha'Zix. Alright, so the first thing we're going to talk about today are runes. These are the best runes because they offer a lot of early game power and allow for faster clear times as well as stronger ganks. The only change I might make to this is changing out the attack damage res for armor penetration, and that's when they have like a team of full tanks. I find these to be the best masteries for Kha'Zix because they help him do a lot more damage early on. With this combination of runes and masteries, it lets you start the game with a lot of cooldown reduction as well as AD. Finally, we're going to talk about item builds. You're going to start with Trailblazer and then switch to Stalker's Blade with Warrior's Enchant when you upgrade. For added mobility, you can get mobility boots right away, otherwise I would just wait and purchase them later on. If things are going well, you're probably going to want to buy a Brutalizer and then a Last Whisper. If they don't really have any tanky threats, you can also build a teammate instead. Once you've bought your core items, it's time to start building tanky. If they have a lot of mage threats, you might want to build a Hex Drinker earlier, otherwise you can still wait. For a more AD heavy team, you'll probably want to buy a Randuin's Omen or a Guardian's Angel. Most of the times I find that a Randuin's Omen is a lot better choice. If you're dealing with a lot of AP threats, you might want to buy a Banshee's Veil or a Spirit Visage. I like Spirit Visage because it gives you the extra cooldown reduction as well as increased healing from your W. A late game 6 item build usually consists of a jungle item, boots, Hydra, Last Whisper, Black Cleaver, and finally an Omen. Black Cleaver and Omen are probably going to be the items you switch out most for either Banshee's Veil or Hex Drinkers. When jungling, there are certain paths that are better for certain champions. For Kha'Zix, there are 3 paths that I use that I find the most success with. When playing on blue side, there are 2 different paths you can choose from. In the first path that I use, you can go Golems to red buff to wolves, recall, buying your jungle item, and then going to blue buff. There are a couple benefits to this jungle route and reasons why I use them. The first being that if I don't want to fight the enemy jungler top lane and I have a good feeling that they might show up there when I do, I don't want to lose that fight, and so if I show up there with full health, it gives me the advantage. Another reason you might want to use this path is some top laners are actually very strong early game, such as Renekton and Riven, and if you show up in lane at half health, they actually might go all in and pick up double buffs, and that's the last thing you want to do for your laner. One last benefit to using this jungle path is that a lot of top laners expect you to gank around 320, and so they'll have already dropped their ward, so by the time you actually come to pay a visit to them, their ward will already be down and they won't expect the gank. Which is great, because the last thing you want to do when you're jungling is wasting time. It's already hard enough to get golden experience, and if you're going to a lane and you're not getting anything out of it, then you just wasted your time. When playing on blue side, I start at Gromp, go to blue buff, go to red buff, and then I'll either recall or I'll do a gank. This is the jungle path I basically always use. The reason being is that when you smite red, that bonus health is incredible. It gives you a lot of health and makes it a lot safer to get ganks off. One thing you should always do after you've finished your jungle path is look around the map and see if there's anyone that's available for gank. In this clip, I see that Lux's lane is pushing and that along with Cho'Gath's CC, this lane has strong kill potential. Once I see that Cho'Gath lands his Rupture, I decide to jump in and we go in for the kill. Not only did we get the kill, but we also managed to burn Lux's flash. Now that we've taken care of jungle paths and all that fun stuff, it's time to talk about what I really love to do, and that's ganking. When you're playing Kha'Zix, it's all about efficiency. The last thing you want to do is just go to a lane and not get anything out of it. So I'm going to give you some helpful tips to make the most out of your ganks. The first thing you should do is have your laners engage the fight. What this does is causes the enemy laner to focus more on your teammates and not on the mini-map in case that it's warded. Next, if your laner has CC, wait for them to use it first. The last thing you want to do is use your leap. The reason being is that it's a lot harder to chase once they flash, unless you have flash of your own. But like I said, it's all about being efficient. Why use a 5-minute flash when you can use a 15-second leap? The next thing to watch out for is that some champions have gap closers. The last thing you want to do is use yours before they use theirs. As soon as they've used it, then you know you're safe to use yours. At this point, the only way that they can get away from you is by flashing. Burning a flash might not seem like much, but it's going to be your chance to make someone hate their life. You're probably wondering why they're going to hate their life. The reason being is that for the next 5 minutes, you're going to be camping the crap out of them. This will result in 2 things. 1, the enemy team will become very unhappy, they'll start raging, they'll get mad at their teammates, they'll get mad at the enemy jungler. And 2, you're going to get very fed. Both of these are going to help you win this game, because let's be honest, how many of us have won games with a bunch of ragers on our team? Yeah, not often. In this next part, I'm going to talk to you about skill orders as well as getting the most out of your damage. Kha'Zix's passive Unseen Threat allows his next basic attack to do extra damage as well as slow. It is easy to get your passive off when you combine it with your ultimate. Every time you come out of stealth, you get one empowered basic attack, which is perfect for slowing your enemy when you gank. Next is Kha'Zix's bread and butter, Taste Their Fear. It does single target physical damage as well as 30% more damage when they're isolated. When evolved, it increases your auto attack range as well as Taste Their Fear's range, and does bonus physical damage to isolated targets, which makes you an incredible duelist when you're invading the enemy jungler. Next, we have Void Spikes. It explodes on the enemy target, healing Kha'Zix if he's close enough, and this slows the enemy target for 20%. When evolved, it shoots out 3 spikes in a cone, as well as slowing and revealing the enemy target. Next, we have Kha'Zix's gap closer, Leap, which allows him to jump a certain distance, dealing AoE physical damage when he lands. When evolved, he gains extra leap range as well as resets for kills and assists, giving him lots of mobility in teamfights. This is going to be your go-to for assassinating enemy targets. You jump in, get the kill, and then jump out. Finally, we have Kha'Zix's ultimate Void Assault, which gives him 2 1-second charges of stealth as well as bonus movement speed and ignoring unit collision. When evolved, you also get 1 additional second in stealth as well as 1 more charge. This ability is perfect for weaving in and out of teamfights, deleting high priority targets. But when it comes to skill order, you want to max your ultimate when you can, then your Q, W, and finally your E. When choosing evolutions, you either get your Q or your E first, and then for your second evolution, getting either one that you didn't get, and then finally getting your ult. The reason I don't get the W is because it doesn't really provide as much after it got nerfed, and it's only really useful for poking, which you won't be worrying about much since you'll be going ham most of the time. Now it's time to talk about what you're going to be doing in a team fight. For the rest of the video, I'm going to be showing different team fights and commentating on my thought process as I went throughout the fight. In the fight you just watched, I jumped around the fight, picking off weakened and isolated targets, allowing my teammates to clean up the rest of them. By getting resets, it's a lot easier for me to join the fight again. In this next clip, a fight begins to break out before I even get there. Swain instantly becomes the focus of 5 players, making it a lot easier for me to go in and get an assassination. Because of my stealth and the reset, I'm able to go in stealth and jump on out. Because of how drawn out the battle has become, both teams begin to take a lot of damage. This is when I decided it's a great opportunity to jump in and get some kills. Kha'Zix's insane damage and leap reset makes him awesome at cleaning up teamfights. In this final clip, I'm able to get resets off of both Lissandra and Sejuani, allowing me to jump around in the fight, picking out any targets that are available to me. And with that, we're done. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys have any questions or comments, leave them below. I try to answer every single question. And don't forget to like and subscribe. I wish you the best of luck, and until the next video, guys. Bye-bye.